Hello and welcome to my Fallout 4 modding tutorial. In this video I'm going to show you how to mod all of your weapons and armor in Fallout 4. Now before we get started, there are a couple things that you're going to need. You're going to need an armor workbench, a weapons workbench, and a workshop that has plenty of materials in it. And the materials that you're going to need are basically junk that you find throughout the world. So for instance, all this stuff that I have right here in my workshop is all the junk that I have found while questing and leveling out in the world. And all this stuff is basically used for materials in your workshop, and they can be used to create things and create different parts for your settlement, as well as armor mods and weapon mods. Now this military ammo bag is going to break down into 2 ballistic fiber, whereas this military grade circuit board will break down into 5 circuitry. And this leather is obviously leather, and so on and so forth. So all the junk that you have found out in the world can be used and broken down into core materials, which are then used elsewhere. So once you have all of your material and you have your 2 benches, head over to either one. Now I'm going to start off with my weapons. The first thing that you're going to notice right when you open up the weapon workbench is that you're going to see all of the weapons that you currently have in your inventory. So I have a laser rifle, a missile launcher, and a suppressed 308 pipe revolver rifle. Now, when you mouse over any one of the weapons, you're going to see the current mods on that weapon, as well as the stats of that weapon on the left hand side, and a picture of the weapon on top. I'm going to start off with my laser rifle. When I select my laser rifle, I am then brought into another menu which shows all the different parts that are moddable for this laser rifle. And when I mouse over any one of these particular parts, it is then highlighted on top, as that shows like what part of the gun is actually going to be modded. So the capacitor is going to be this part right there. The barrel is going to be the highlighted green right there. The stock is going to be there, and so on and so forth. So it basically shows you what part of the gun you're actually modifying. I'm going to start off with my capacitor. Now these are all the different parts or the mods that can be put on my gun for the capacitor section. Keep in mind though that since some of them are grayed out, that basically means that I do not have either the material or the specified rank in order to make these mods. Whereas everything that's lit up means that I have either all the material and all of the rank required, or I already have that mod in my bag. And what I mean by that, I'll explain in a little bit. So, say I want to go from my standard capacitor to a beta wave tuner, I would simply mouse over it, and it would show all the requirements on the right here. And since I have all the requirement and there's no required skill, which should be shown right here, I am able to make this. Now if you want to see the difference between what you have equipped and what you're going to, that will be indicated on the left hand side here by pluses and minuses. So for instance, this beta wave tuner is going to add a little bit of range, make it weigh a little bit more, but also make it a bit more valuable. Now each mod, the details of each mod can be seen on the upper right hand corner. For instance, my boosted photon agitator would add superior critical shot damage and ammo capacity, increase the accuracy, and improve the damage. However, I don't have the required rank, which is science rank 2, so I'm not able to make this mod. But I can still see the differences between the current mod that I have equipped and what this mod would do for my gun on the left hand side here. So I'm going to put on a boosted capacitor. Now this menu here basically is verifying that you want to make a boosted capacitor, and it is going to show you all of the materials that are going to be taken out of your workshop or out of your inventory and used to make that mod. So for instance, I'm going to lose 7 plastic, 2 adhesive, 1 silver, 4 nuclear material, 2 crystal, 1 magnifying glass, 2 screws, a pepper mill, and 2 circuitry. Once you accept that, you will then have that mod placed on your gun, and then the mod that you currently had equipped beforehand is going to be put into your bag. Now I'll go over that in a little bit. So now that I have a boosted capacitor, I can go and mod a different part of my gun. Say I want to put a short barrel on, I can do that just by verifying and just you can basically go through each part and then change what you have on that part. One thing to keep in mind though is that whenever you mod something, based on the mods that you put on that gun, that is going to change the name of that weapon. So before it was just a laser rifle, now it is a short boosted laser rifle because I have a short barrel on it and I have a boosted capacitor. So the prefix of the weapon is indicated by the mods that you currently have on it. So this suppressed 308 pipe revolver rifle has a 308 receiver, a stub barrel, recoil compensating stock, a glow sight, and a suppressor. But say you have more than one pipe rifle and you don't want both of them, what you can do is take all the mods off of one of them and then put them onto another one. So as you can see here, I do not have the required rank for the suppressor, but yeah, I still have it on. And the reason for that is because I found this gun with the suppressor already on it. But say you want a suppressor on another pipe rifle you have, but you don't want to use this particular one, what you can do is you can change the mod on that current part to the stock mod, which would be no muzzle, and then the mod that you had on before will go into your bags. So as you can see here in my mods tab, I now have a pipe revolver suppressor. Now I can put this suppressor on any other pipe revolver that I find. So that allows you to find guns out in the world, bring them back to your workshop, take all the mods off of them, and then use them wherever else you please, as long as you're using them on the same gun type that you originally took it off of. So if I go back to my pipe rifle and I say I want to put that suppressor back on, I can simply click and it'll be back on. I don't have to make it, I don't have to use any material. And like I said before, that's because I have the mod already in my bag. Now keep in mind, say you don't want a gun and you want to get rid of it, you can also scrap items, and you do this by, on the bottom here it says scrap. So since I'm playing on PC, it'll be R. I'm not too sure what it is on console. But if I press R while mousing over the missile launcher, it'll prompt a scrap item menu, and it'll show you what that item is going to be broken down into. So this missile launcher will be broken down into 6 steel, and when I hit enter, it'll say 6 steel added and missile launcher removed. So now I gained 6 steel, but I lost my missile launcher. One very important thing though, if you scrap a gun that has mods on it, you are not going to get those mods placed in your bag. Instead, they are going to be destroyed. However, you're going to get a little bit more of the base material. So right now, if I were to scrap my short boosted laser rifle, I would get 6 plastic. However, if I take off all the mods, I would not get... If I take off all the mods... Hold up. Alright, so say I took off all the mods and I went to go scrap it again, I would only get 4 plastic. So you see, you're not going to get all the material that were originally used to make the mods. Instead, you're just going to get a little bit more of that base material. So keep that in mind when you're scrapping stuff. I highly suggest taking off all the mods before you scrap it. That way you have access to those mods later on in the game without having to have the required rank and or material to make that mod. Now, if you want to rename your weapons, you can also do so. On the bottom here, for me, since I'm playing on PC, it's T, but for console it's going to be different. But if I press T while mousing over my laser pistol, I can change the name. I can change the name of this weapon, and that is indicated here on the top. For the sake of this tutorial, I'm just going to name my gun Tutorial. However, one thing to keep in mind though is that if you do change the name of the gun, you are no longer going to see the prefix. Personally, I like to see the prefixes of the gun instead. That way I know what mods are on that gun just by looking at the name. But that's a personal thing. If you want to change the name, feel free, and that is how you do it. Just simply go mouse over that item and then hit rename and then type in whatever name you want. So that's basically it for weapons. Now, armor is very similar, but it is slightly different. For armor, you cannot really mod each individual part of any armor piece, but you can change the material that it is made of, as well as a miscellaneous stat on that piece of armor. So right now I have a leather chest piece, and I currently have just standard leather on it. But say I wanted to go to studded leather, I would see the differences in between the standard leather and the studded leather here on the left, which would be indicated by the 3 pluses next to damage resistance and energy resistance and increase in value, but it'll also weigh a lot heavier. Now, you can also just look on the top right here, and it says improves damage and energy resistance, which is basically what I just said a moment ago, and it also requires rank 1 armor. However, I already have rank 1 armor, so I am able to make this mod. So there we go, I got a little bit of XP for doing that, and I now have an upgraded leather chest piece. Now, once you mod the material, you are also able to mod the miscellaneous stat on the armor, and what this does is it basically boosts a certain stat on your character or on the armor piece. So for instance, the pocketed miscellaneous stat will improve the carrying capacity of your character. However, it's not going to be a lot of difference if it's only on one piece of armor, but you can put a miscellaneous stat on all your armor pieces. So if you put pocketed on every armor piece, that'll greatly increase your carrying capacity. But say you put strengthened on one of them, pocketed on another, and then I don't know, cushioned on another, you're going to have more of a variety of bonuses, but you're going to have a lot less bonus for each area of your character. It'll be more of like a diversified bonus for your character, but each bonus is going to be a lot smaller compared to stacking one a lot more. So that's basically it for armor. For armor, it's a lot simpler. All you can do is change the material and change the miscellaneous stat. One thing though is that obviously if you're modding a leather piece, you're going to require a lot of leather in order to make it. If you were modding, say, a metal piece, you would require a lot of steel in order to make that mod. So that's one thing to keep in mind. If you know what type of armor you want to mod, I suggest either picking up more of the same type of armor and then scrapping it to get that base material, or keep an eye out in the world and pick up all of the base material that you're going to need to mod your armor. So that's basically covers the gist of modding and modding your weapons and armor. A couple of the perks that are associated with crafting are armor, blacksmith, gun nut, which is right here, and then science, which is right there. Okay, so right now I have no points in science, but I do have 2 in blacksmith and 2 or 3 in armor, but I have none in gun nut though. So gun nut is basically used to mod or to unlock rank 1, 2, and 3 gun mods. Armor is used to unlock rank 1, 2, 3, and 4 armor mods, and then blacksmith is used to unlock 1, 2, and 3 or rank 1, 2, and 3 weapon mods, and science is basically used to unlock rank 1, 2, 3, and 4 high-tech mods. And what high-tech mods are basically mods that will affect, say, the energy resistance, or will add an elemental factor to your gun or your armor or your weapon. Anything that requires more of like a more high-tech mod is going to require science, whereas something that just makes it go from a standard blade to a serrated blade is just going to require blacksmith. So thank you. That pretty much covers everything that you need to know in order to mod your weapons and armor in Fallout 4. I appreciate the view. If you want to get a notification whenever I upload a new video, feel free to subscribe, and I will see you all later. Have a nice day. Bye.